I am Devin Miller, an aspiring fifth-generation farmer from Gildford, Montana. Agriculture has impacted me greatly throughout my entire life as I come from a legacy of farmers. I believe that it is important to know where you came from as well as recognizing previous family members that have contributed to my family farm success. I have conducted an interview with my grandfather, Donald Miller, who has been farming for his entire life. We discussed how the Miller family has homesteaded and acquired land, as well as the formation of Miller Brothers and other unique farming practices that had to be developed with larger acreages. I hope this video shows a place that I recognize as home and truly holds a special place in my heart with a rich history of homesteading, farming, ranching, and hard work.
Lydia and Henry Miller, they came from Starkweather, North Dakota, landed 16 miles north of Gildford, and homesteaded, and you've got about 320 acres. The Pennywell brothers, Bill and Carl, came from Buffalo, Kansas. Several of their neighbors came with them, and they called it the Kansas Valley out here, where they all kind of homesteaded together. And when we purchased a half section of ground later, or about 70 years later, we found out that they had reserved a couple acres in the corner of that section for a school, which wasn't built, but they had made provisions when they homesteaded that that tract would be used for school if it needed to be. Can you imagine if you were leaving your home, put everything you own in a railroad car, your animals, your harnesses, and household possessions, head out on a railroad track and land 1,000 miles away and have to start all over with not even a well, dig a well for water, build a house and shelter? It would be quite an undertaking. It was a tribute to the group of people that could do that, make it work. Well, my father was Lewis Miller. He was a son of 6 that Henry Miller had, and he was 16 miles north of Gildford. And my mother was Irene Pennywell, and she's about 3.5, 4 miles south and east of Gildford. And as they were growing up and attending barn dances, and got acquainted and got together and met like most young people do, and got married and had 3 children, Lowell, Dinah, and myself, Donald. And they expanded, rented land, expanded, kept on farming, and that was our beginning. Lowell was 10 years, he was the oldest son. Dinah was a couple years behind him, and then I came along 10 years behind Lowell, so I was kind of a tail ender. He got married and had a family started by the time I graduated from high school. I went to college in Billings, and our grandfather decided he wanted to sell the pasture land, and we was interested. We wanted to get into the cattle business, and I was ready to come back to the farm, and so we formed a partnership, and that lasted until our family grew up, which was our understanding when we started, that we keep going, and if our sons wanted to farm, why we possibly would split up and bring them into the program, which we did. We bought that grassland from our grandfather, got into the registered Gildford business as a start, and then we realized that we probably had to be bigger in order to sell more bulls and have a volume. So we stepped back out of the registered Gildford business and brought Angus bulls in and used them in the crossbreeding program, and then we brought the 3-way cross. We brought Charlie in, and we were increasing our weeding weights tremendously. And we got down the road further, and the Simmental breed came into being, and we investigated that, and they had a good mothering ability, lots of milk, increased calving weight three-way partnership with our livestock. The artificial inseminated cows improved the Simmental and our herd tremendously. And he continued on then. Well, I stepped back and he took over the livestock and continued it. Still doing well with it in this day and age. So. Farming practices changed. We were straight 50-50. Well, what that I mean is we summer followed half of our ground, trying to store up moisture for the next year, and we cropped half of it. And back in the day, we were moldboarding. Moldboard plowing was actually turning the soil over about 8 inches deep. So we needed some equipment to work that back down and prepare for seedbed. Spring tooth was a pretty good tool to use, but we needed quite a bit of width of it, so we had to develop and build hitches to pull that because the spring tooth sections were only about 4 feet wide themselves, so we had to tie quite a few together to get over the ground. So we built some hitches in the winter months, up to 85 feet that we could pull 100 foot of equipment with. And we didn't want to have to be working all them 4-foot sections with an individual lever, so we built a hydraulic system that would work, plumb the hitches with hydraulic, and you could sit in the tractor and control the hydraulics and raise and lower them into the ground as you move from one field to the other. And that couldn't go out and buy that type of equipment because it was available. So we just did that in the shop in the wintertime. Pulled drills and spring tooths and rod weeders with those big hitches and put it all on hydraulics. Worked out real great.
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, I need a caretaker. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board. So God made a farmer. I need somebody with arms strong enough to wrestle a calf and yet gentle enough to deliver his own grandchild. Somebody to call hogs, tame cantankerous machinery, come home hungry, have to wait lunch until his wife's done feeding visiting ladies, then tell the ladies to be sure and come back real soon and mean it. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die, then dry his eyes and say, maybe next year. I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps, who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, and then painin' from tractor back put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer. God had to have somebody willing to ride the ruts at double speed to get the hay in ahead of the rain clouds and yet stop in midfield and race to help when he sees the first smoke from a neighbor's place. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear trees and heave bales, yet gentle enough to yean lambs and wean pigs and tend the pink-combed pullets, who will stop his mower for an hour to splint the broken leg of a meadowlark. It had to be somebody who'd plow deep and straight and not cut corners. Somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk and replenish the self-feeder and finish a hard week's work with a 5-mile drive to church. Somebody who'd bail a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing, who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer.
gets up before the dawn, packs a lunch and a thermos full of coffee. It's another day in the dusty haze, those burning rays are wearing down his body. The diesel's worth the price of gold, it's the cheapest grain he's ever sold, but he's still holding on. He just takes the tractor another round and pulls the plow across the ground and sends up another prayer. He says, Lord, I never complain, I never ask why. Please don't let my dreams run dry. Underneath this Amarillo sky. That hailstorm back in '83 sure did take a toll on his family. He stayed strong and carried on, just like his dad and granddad did before him. On his knees every night he prays, please let my crops and children grow, 'cause that's all he's ever known. He just takes the tractor another round and pulls the plow across the ground and sends up another prayer. He says, Lord, I never complain, I never ask why. Please don't let my dreams run dry. Underneath this Amarillo sky. And he takes the tractor another round, another round, another round. And he takes the tractor another round, another round.